Hi, Year 11 students. I'm going through some of the GCSE revision topics for your paper 1, which is approaching in 2 days. So, without further ado, let's get started. So, when you will look through the papers for paper 1, you will see that there are around 30 to 40 marks are for writing programs out of 90 marks paper. Paper 2 will be 90 marks and you will have 2 hours for that paper, and out of that less than 50%, around 38 40 marks, from 30 to 40 marks have been assigned for writing programs, and we will see how we can answer them in a better way, and followed by programming questions. The next most common type of questions are based on trace table, so we will go over that. Okay, so let's begin with how to answer programming questions. Imagine this is your question. First thing that you have to remember is to read every single word in that question carefully. Have a pen, pencil with you and scrabble around it. So, for example, I'm just going to show you how easily we can do different things. So, read a question. A theme park charges 15 per person for a daily ticket. If there are 6 or more people in a group, the group is given a discount £5. Write a Python program to calculate total charge for a group. This is just the gist, like what you're supposed to do. To understand how exactly you're going to write, you need to read this part very carefully. Okay, now inside that part, if you're looking at, I'm just going here, get the user to enter. Whenever there is enter, it means simply what you're looking for is the word input. So you're going to write an input statement. Now, the next thing you're looking is number. So it might be a number, it might, so you're going to say enter and then the number. When you are having that number or a quantity is written anywhere, you are going to say you need to have int or float. That typecasting has to be done. So how you would be having, let's say, and remember you should be having meaningful variable names. If you're not having that, you will lose mark out of 6. Okay, so imagine you have given number of people, num underscore people. That could be your name of a variable, equal to, you're saying, and then you don't have to include everything, but you have to have int. Remember, number of people can't be float, so you have to have int correctly over here. We have to use logic in that sense, and then you have to include input with the brackets like this. That's it. Even if you have done this correctly, immediately you got the first mark out of 6 marks. Then you have to keep on looking for these types of keywords in your answer. Don't write answering the program immediately. You will have enough time in the exam, so please read carefully. Let's continue with the reading. Now, what we else you have to look at? So calculate the total. They are telling charging 15 per person. So this is multiplication, and there is no keyword over here, but reducing, like subtraction, that has to be done. Now, very important keyword, if. Whenever you are going to use a selection method, you will always see this word if. There is no other way. When there is if, you're going to use if followed by else. That is important. And even if you will write just the keywords if else with wrong condition, wrong everything inside it, still you will get marks. So be confident when you're answering these questions. Write the keywords that you could write inside it. Again, one important thing you have to remember when you are going to write, that indentation is important. So you will have a question paper with couple of lines over here like this. So whenever you're writing at the beginning, you should start from the beginning, and then whenever you're coming with the indentation writing, right over here. Okay, the if statement should start from here at the beginning itself, but once you have written the condition, what should happen with the if should go over here with empty space at the beginning. This indentation is very important. Please don't use pencil to write your programs, but make sure you are doing the paperwork on the sheet before you start writing your answer. If something is wrong, just erase that line and write it again. Okay, now when you will see if, that's one thing, and then again the very important highlighted part is output. Whenever you see output, it means you should be using the word print. Okay, so that's what you give a help. When you are answering this question, first thing will be input, that will give you 1 mark. Then when you're calculating, this one part will be giving you 1 mark. Having correct if else will be giving you couple of marks, and then printing the correct output with the correct total charge would give you few more marks. Even if you will make a single syntax error, or if you have not followed the indentation, or if you have not given variable names, minimum 1 mark will be deducted from your answers. For all these questions that we are going to discuss in today's video, you would be able to see their mark scheme, and for that mark scheme I'm giving the link in the description, so just please check the description. All right, let's go on the next slide. I want you to pause this, try and highlight which are the keywords, what you should do, and then we will redo this together if you need help. Pause your video if you are doing now. Okay, now write a Python program that calculates the value of bonus payment, okay, bonus payment for an employee based on how many items they have sold and the number of years they have been employed. So there are 2 conditions that they have told, which are separated by and. Again, this is just explanation at the beginning. This doesn't hold much information. The detailed information is below, and it's always in the bulleted format if you would keep look closely. Okay, so let's highlight the keywords that are important. Get the user to input. So this means if you're getting anything, it's input immediately. Now, as you're looking for a number of items sold, again, items sold can't be float, it has to be int, so you need to be careful with this. Get the user to input. Again, same thing, you're going to get an input, and number of years, again, keep this to int. So for the first 2, these 2 we are going to have input. Write down like this on your question paper, on that paper, which will help you understand how your code should look like. Don't rush to write answers. Output the value of the bonus payment. Now this is the last thing. Output usually in all of your questions is coming at the end only, so don't write print as the second thing immediately, but it will be coming eventually towards the end. Okay, so that's why print would be there. Now next keywords over here are if. So you are looking at if the years of employment is less than equal to 2, and as this is, they have highlighted in your condition, you should be having 2 things. So you're checking if year of employment is bigger and number of items sold is greater than 100. That's one thing. And what should you do? If you're having more than 1 if statements, it gives you indication that first one is if, but the second one is going to be elif. So remember, that's what you're going to do. And otherwise is nothing but else. Again, the otherwise is the keyword that you should be knowing. Look over here. Do you have to do certain thing again and again? Nothing mentioned. So the first two programs, this one and this currently we are doing, are simply if-else questions. Usually if-else questions would be up to 6 to 7 marks depending on how difficult is it. As this one is having LF, you are having one more mark with it for this question. So 6 mark questions, 7 mark questions. If you can't spot anything, it's pure if else question and you should be able to do it very easily. Let's have a look. Third one. Here are some different keywords. Again, try around first before I go through it and then check your answers. Write a Python program that calculates an estimate of braking distance in meters for a new model of go-kart that is traveling between 10 to 15 kilometers per hour. Again, as I have told you, not much information in the first two lines. Keep asking. Whenever you see keep asking, it's an indication that you should be using loop. Which loop can you use? You can use both the loops. You can use for, you can use while. Whichever you are comfortable with, you can use over here. The user to enter a speed of a go-kart until they enter speed that is between 10 to 15. Now, here you can realize when you will read it further. So at the beginning, you can say for or while. You can write like this exactly. And then when you see until, again, another keyword. If it has mentioned something like 5 times or 4 times or something like that, that would be an example of for. But if you see a word until, that means we are not going to use for, we have to use while over here. Okay? So, when you see a keyword until, it's a while loop immediately. Then, what you have to do is, the condition would be user enters. Like you have to ask a user to enter first of all speed and then check whether that speed is between 10 and 15 inclusive. So it's not less than 9 and not more than 51. Remember, it's inclusive. Then only you have to proceed. Otherwise, you keep on asking that. It's simple as that. Okay. Then once you are done with that loop, what you're doing next is you're calculating braking distance meters by dividing speed by 5. So this is the calculation. You have to ask a user what is the speed and you have to divide that speed by 5 and have one more variable which would be like a braking distance and the value is stored here. Now the second part that you should be looking at is ask user. When you are saying ask user, it's nothing but input. Okay, so that's what you should be writing for. If the ground is wet, okay, remember the answer is yes. That's what they are saying. So here you are not using int or anything. It's a simple input, okay? And you have to compare now later on if. That's the keyword and you should be that means if is present, you're writing if condition. Multiple the braking distance by 1.5. So what should happen inside the if loop is given over here, okay? And then the final thing that you could see is output. Output is nothing but the print. Okay. As you can see, it's an 8-marker question. You have a loop. First will be the loop where you keep on asking user to enter the correct value, which is between 10 to 50. Once you have got that, then only you are doing all the rest of the calculations. So all of that should be inside a while loop. And you need to be very careful of indentation for this particular answer. Okay, try and answer this and check your answers with the mark scheme that I have uploaded. Okay, moving on. Here, again, pause the video, do your work and let's listen again. The keywords, as I have been telling you, are going to be here. Ask the user. It means you have to have input. Output the message. It means you're going to give print. And now comes the if part. If is there, it means you're going to do the comparison. Okay. Remember, when you are going through this particular question, it says it performs a linear search. When you are doing a linear search, you need to know what exactly is a linear search. What are we doing? We are looking at each element within the array till the end of array. So you are using a loop over here. It could be for loop or it could be while loop. How do you use it? That's up to you. So you can use the function of arrays and you can say for I in fruits, simply like that, and it could be a very simple for loop. But if you don't know the syntax, how you use for loop within the arrays, it will be beneficial to stick to while loop. So while the array is not finished with the length of the elements. Again, as it mentions linear search over here, remember there is no mention of loop, but if or keep repeating or something similar. But you need to know if they have written linear in your question, it means you have to keep on doing it in a loop. Now look at this particular question. Even though this question has plenty of text written in it and it seems very big, don't get overwhelmed with it. Read it carefully. Okay, and reading it carefully will help you identify what you should be writing in it, what it should not be. These type of questions usually come from 8 to 12 markers, and we will look at it how you could answer it perfectly, how we can look at the keywords within this question. So this particular part of a question just explains you what you are supposed to do. For example, this you're creating a game, and when you see 3 by 3 grid, it means it's a nothing but an array. So that's a giveaway over here, but you would see it again further in the question as well. Okay, now see, let's have a look at the keywords. Each time a player answers a question correctly, the ticket array is updated. If the answer is in the ticket array, then it is replaced with the asterisk. So see, here you are noticing if that might not be directly related what your program is supposed to do, that's apparently, but you would see how that if is again indication of if else statement shortly. Okay, an example of a ticket array is given over here. As you can see, not gate has been replaced with the asterisk, something like that, because they have given that answer. Write a subroutine in Python called check winner. Remember, you have to have that name, and when you're having subroutine, it should start with a def and all those kind of keywords. So let's start with def, and then the subroutine name exactly should be written over here. That will count the number of asterisks. So we are going to count the number of asterisks. That's our thing. The subroutine should take the ticket array as a parameter. So you should be having a parameter. And what is the name of the parameter? They have told us already. It has to be ticket. So you're going to write that thing in the bracket. And then you're writing what all the things should happen. See, count the number of asterisks in the ticket array. You have to count the number of asterisks within this array. How we can do that? You have to go through the array, trace the array. There are various ways that you could trace your array. simply by using a for loop within a for loop, or just by saying if ticket, like you would be, again, remember this if is to check if that content is equal to star. So that how you would write it could be something simply as if, and what is the name of the array? Ticket. So you're going to say if ticket 0 comma 0, like not comma, 0 square 0 is equal to, and then you have to say asterisk. Just a second, I'm not able to write over here correctly, 1 second. And you have to give it in the speech mark, and then you have to put a colon around it, and you have to write down if ticket is 0, what you're going to do. You have to say nothing but count is equal to count plus 1, because we have to count how many asterisks are there. Again, let's highlight few more keywords over there. One is output here. Then there are the keywords like if there are 9 asterisks. So there is one more if statement that you should be looking at. Again, there is one if, but it's just the otherwise statement over here. If you will read carefully, if there are 9 asterisks in array, you're going to say bingo. Output, like print bingo. Otherwise, if there are less than 9 asterisks, what we are doing, we are going to say the total number of asterisks. So we are going to write here something like how many counts you have got. So you're going to say at the beginning count is set to 0, and then you're doing count is equal to count plus 1. Okay, count is equal to count plus 1. Something like that we have to keep on doing, and that's how you have to write your subroutine. Again, all of the things are important over here. Alternative way, rather than saying ticket 0 comma 0 is it equal to asterisk, ticket 0 1 is it equal to all and all and all, you can have a for loop where I is in the range of 3. I'm not writing everything, you can look at the mark scheme later on. I in the range of 3, and then you have one more for loop inside it with a j in a range of, again, range of 3. As this array is 3 by 3, you can simply saying have that inside it, and then you can keep on saying if ticket I and j is that equal to asterisk, something like that. So it will trace the entire array. This is essentially how you could trace the entire array. Now let's look at the second most common questions within this exam are trace tables. When you're looking at trace tables, they're again reading your question carefully, reading the flowcharts carefully, or reading the pseudocode carefully is important. And remember, you're not going vertically, you're going horizontally for every single row. Okay, let's try and do it here. At the beginning, A is set to 0, B is set to 1. Is there anything about C at this place? Nothing. We can keep as is. C could be empty. Next, what we are doing, C is A plus B. So you could write here as well in that scenario, or okay. And what we are doing, C is what? A plus B is 1. That's it. Now we are going next. Is C greater than 4? Is it greater than 4? No. So we are going and doing this. So now what is the new value of A? A is now B. So A is now 1. B is now C. So what is the value of C? Again, it's a 1. So we are keeping as is. Again, we are coming over here, and now what becomes the new value of C? It's A plus B. So you're going to add these two things, and you're going to do 2. Please remember not to go vertically. You have to do one line at a time like this, okay? Let's start again from the beginning. I'm just saying 0, 1, 1, then 1, 1, 1. You have, again, is that greater than 4? No. Then what we are doing, we are having, again, what is the new value of A is going to be, sorry, what is the new value of C here would be 2. My mistake. 1 plus 1 is 2. Then what we are doing is, again, you're having assigning the value. New value of A is now value of B, so it remains 1. Value of C is given to B, that's why this is the value, and the new value of C would be 3. Then again we are repeating the same procedure. Now the value of A is going to be 2. Value of B is going to become 3, and we will remember it, we will still do this task. We will say 2 plus 3 is 5. Now, is 5 greater than 4? Yes. So we are not doing this again and we are stopping. And all these arrows, columns and cells, you don't need it. So that's why you don't have to worry. Remember this. That's how you have to answer this particular question. That's it. Let's move on to the next question now. And this is the last question that we are discussing. Which, again, this one looks a little bit strange. Trust me, reading is the key. This is one of the row of a bitmap image that is uses different shades of gray. This row is stored using the following numbers to represent different shades of gray. Okay, these are the different shades of gray. This one is nothing but 5, 6, 56, 34, 0, 99, 72, and 23. The algorithm shown in the code below uses this row. Okay, so this is what we are having. Now at the beginning it's given all the values. Row is having all these values, and then new row is having these values. For I 0 to 5, if row I is more than 50, then new row I is equal to 99. And if and for, you have to complete this, and first value has been entered for you. So I is given here. Remember, the values of I are going to change from 0 to 5. Okay, here, what is the value row 0 at the beginning? It's 56. Is it greater than 50? Yes, it is, right? Then what we are going to do, new row I, so that first one I is going to become 99, like this. Okay, and then we are going back again. Where are we going? Now value of I is 1. Now what is the value of I over here? 34. Is it now the value of I has become next value 34. Is 34 greater than 50? No, so we are not doing anything over here. Next comes 0, okay, because again I will become now 2. That's what you have to include, because when you're having a for loop, value of I keeps on adding, increasing. Now it's 2, and the row 2, 0, 1, 2 is 0. Is 0 greater than 50? No. So we are not doing anything. We are just going to increase the value of I. Now I has become 3. Row 3. So see, the indentation starts from 0, 1, 2, and 3, like this for an array. What is the row 3? It's 99. Is it greater than 50? Yes, it is. So new row I is 99. Remember, I is what? I is new row 3. So in this column, in the new row, we are not doing here. Remember that. Where are we doing? It's at the third position, which is here. So here you have to write 99. Okay, this is for I, this is for new row. Okay, so everything else should be empty. Then what we are doing, 72, which will be here, 4, and then same way, is 72 bigger than 50? Yes. So we are going to write 99, but we are writing over here. And the last one is 23. Is it greater than 50? No, we are not doing anything over here, but we have to increase the value of I till 5. when you are using the Python code, remember when we are having for I in range 5, the numbers are from 0 to 4 only. 5 is not inclusive. But when we are doing subroutine, it's a straightforward. It means 5 is there, and that's why this 5 is important. Don't miss out on this 5, okay? If instead of a pseudocode, if they have written for I in range 5, let's say something like this, then in that scenario you would be including only 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. You would not write 5 in that case, okay? Just remember that bit. That's it. Go through searching algorithms. That could be one of the place which would need, like, there will be some, at least one question about some type of searching, and then you should be knowing the keywords like iteration, selection, sequence, what is algorithm, why do we need subroutines, what are the advantages of subroutines, all those type of theory questions you should be able to answer. You should be able to tell what are the advantages of having structured approach. That is nothing but, again, what is a subroutine essentially, or why do we need subroutine, something like that. And what are the different data types, which type of data should be stored in which type, like float is for decimal numbers, integer is for like regular numbers, 0, 1, 2, 3, something like that. That's what all you should be knowing. And that's it from my side. You can join. Best of luck.